Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL ESEA Pro League. Once again, my name is Blue. Joining me here is Moses, and we're about to go into our next match, which will be our final match of the evening here. It's going to be the match that was originally scheduled for 10 p.m., but we had to move it to 11 due to that update delaying things a little bit. It'll be Team Liquid taking on Conquest now. And while we are waiting, of course, for these teams to finish joining up and get themselves ready, let's talk a little bit about these teams. So, Moses, take us away with your thoughts on both of these teams coming into this match.
I'm really interested to see how Liquid's going to do with Hiko in the lineup. They've looked really well recently. They just won that Abba Power Invitational, didn't they? That was them that won it. Correct?
Yep, I believe so.
Yep.
I think they got first place. It was them versus LG in the final, and they came up against LG.
And I mean, even beating LG has been a team for a while, doing some damage internationally at the major. I mean, so that's good to see. Good start for them. They can keep improving. This is a good time for them to be improving and then kind of hitting their stride right before the major qualifier. So that's really cool. And then Conquest, I mean, this is a squad that has a lot of talent on it. We saw some of the damage they can do back when at the SIVO LAN when they were Tempo Storm. They had a pretty good tournament. They weren't able to qualify for the major, but I mean, Daps came in, they made a couple changes, and they still have a lot of firepower.
Yeah, and indeed bringing in, as you said, a lot of talent there. Daps, who hasn't had so much exposure as of late, but now it's good to see him coming back, as he was originally a pretty good player there for the original Liquid roster when they were first getting picked up. I forget, because I wasn't in the scene as of yet, the team that they were before they got picked up by Liquid, but not only that too, but bringing in Naf, who was playing for LG, at least at the beginning of last season there too. I believe he was off the roster after the previous season LAN, but still, he was definitely probably one of the big fraggers for that team, so bringing him in, and then plenty of other names here too that need no introduction, such as Shazam and the others as well.
Yeah, that'll be the interesting thing, because one thing that's really improved out of Liquid that I noticed, I don't know how long it's going to keep up, because I don't think it was one of his strengths in the past, but all of a sudden this Hiko acquisition has made Drench seemingly look like a better opera, even on the T sides. He's being very effective with it, so I'm not sure how long that'll stay, because I don't think that it's going to, I mean, it just coincides with Hiko joining. It's kind of weird. I don't think it can stick around because it's not like he's changed anything. He's just playing better and almost maybe just more confidently with a player like Hiko on his squad. But that'll come into play huge on this map where an Opera can be very effective on both sides of the map.
I think it's definitely the sort of new team feel and the new team confidence coming into play here. We saw that a little bit too towards the middle of last season with what is now Threes Up Industries. They were previously known, forget the last team name before that, but with Threes Up Industries in the middle of that last season too, when they sort of finally finalized that roster and got themselves together, they were actually on a really good streak too. So I think that's part of it. There is just Team Liquid are gelling really well right now. They're working very good as a new team, and there's a lot of confidence that comes with it, and that's probably why we're seeing Adren do so well, and that with Hiko as well. They're just combining for a really great powerhouse to definitely work them into the top 3 of NA, and maybe even top 2, technically speaking, too, depending on some upcoming LAN results over the next few weeks.
Yeah, that'll be that's kind of the big thing, isn't it? See how they do in Stockholm, which would be huge for the squad to finally qualify for a major, get some Liquid stickers. That'd be pretty sick.
I know I would be happy to see that, but it does look like we are getting live into the knife round, guys, and as you can obviously see by this point, it is going to be on Train, which was the map that came into play in the previous season. These teams have had a whole season now to get used to it, and obviously, again, we're not going to have that awkward phase of teams just getting used to it here at the beginning. They've already played it now for a full season. They've gotten used to it. It's definitely still the oddball out of the 7 maps in the pool, but definitely has had some very interesting games on it, both in North America and Europe in the previous months. It's been in rotation now.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it gets played, because I'm starting to like, there's some teams who do some really cool stuff. This map can be really exciting. You think of like Virtus Pro, like best team in the world on Train at the moment, but like they're such a fun team to watch on this, with the way that it can explode in the outer bomb side. I think in North America, CLG actually has a really cool outer execute. So does LG. So, I mean, there's some cool stuff happening with this map, and I hope we get to see some of it tonight.
I'm looking at some of the results here so far from our teams, and actually, no, we'll screw that. We'll talk about it when it becomes relevant, as we're getting live into the match now, so let's get right to it, guys. It's Conquest versus Team Liquid, the first half beginning. Conquest winning that knife round. They're going to get the start off over here on the CT side, and as for Liquid, they're jumping onto the T side to see what they can work with. Fugly going to go out from the rest of the team here and just try to see if he can keep everybody in that A bomb site, but as for the rest of Liquid, they're going inside right now, and they're going to completely destroy Daps on the way in there, working their way in here too. They managed to find a way into that site, and no trouble at all. Unfortunately, the rest of Conquest is basically nowhere to be found. They're all outside right now, trying to work their way in through Connector right now. Fugly is an opposing force too, holds them out for a couple more seconds. Naf is able to take him down with relative ease, but still, we still have to look at those 3 players trying to find a way in from Connector. Nobody else wrapping out towards CT, and there's just no way they're getting in through that angle there. And even Elige finding one through the smoke too. He's going to take down Rush, and any attempt at a retake, unfortunately, is going to be thwarted here by Conquest, so they'll be looking for exits at this point, and Liquid will easily walk away with this first round here.
Yeah, I mean, once that smoke goes down a connector, it's all over. You could just see him bail out from that moment on. Really, that round was one outside. Immediately, Rush got gooshed, and it pulled the defense just like 3 steps away out towards outer. They had to be very, very cautious of an outer rush, but it went inner, and there was just no support for Daps. He got caught. He couldn't even make it to the back of the train to get behind cover to survive as long as possible. He just gets eliminated very quickly. So basically, yeah, free win for Liquid as they beat the rotations into that bomb site.
And looking at Liquid's buy-ups here now, we're going to look at Elysian Fugly going directly for the rifles. Adren's going to be going right now for an SMG, but he's the only player that goes for it here, and it makes sense too, as he needs to be the one that grabs up that extra little bit of cash to try and pick up the op. We don't see him, and I'm actually a bit curious too as to how he's going to play this with the new roster. I'm not sure how much you've been able to watch the new Liquid, but have we seen Adren picking up the op more with this new roster, or is he still generally shying away from it on the T side still?
That's the thing. I saw him opping with the T side in that tournament at the iBet Power Invitational that just ended a couple days ago. So that'll be interesting to watch. Either way, heavy inside presence for Conquest. All 5 members here, and Liquid's walking right into it. So this is going to be a battle every step. Already an AK on the ground. Adren picks it up though. Not able to make any progress. There's so many counter terrorists inside this bomb site. Liquid's in a tough spot here.
We see here too, Adren's going to be able to find one, but Rix gets the response, hiding towards the back. Liquid, they're going to get pushed outside. Nitro and Adren both heavily lit up. Adren's on the 19, and Nitro's sitting at 27. Nitro's going to sit back to hold the line, but unfortunately not going to hold it very well there, as Naf is quick to eliminate him coming in through the top. Now they're going to get this smoke off over here onto A, hoping to at the very least sneak away with this plant, but the hold from Conquest is just so strong right now, even snuffing out the remaining one. Rix is going to be able to find one with the CZ, and Rush with a long-range kill there on a P250 takes out Adren, and Conquest get a quick response there and shut down the offense from Liquid with a good gamble play over towards the inside train yard.
Yeah, that's a really bad round from Team Liquid. I mean, like a half-ass committal into that inner bomb site, going down that lower ramp where you're at so many disadvantages, not even probing outside, pretty much committing immediately to an inner hit, and they just get stuffed by that stack. I mean, if you're going to go in there and you have the rifles, why not go out the upper ramp where you have those long-range battles, where you have the open battles where you can pick off the pistols? So that's really unfortunate for them.
Liquid, of course, are going to be broken after this one and go mainly onto Tech 9's and P250 buys here, working their way over towards the back of B right now. Adren's going to lead the charge for the team, getting that smoke out, but also counter-smoke by the CTs, so not really going to give them a whole lot of momentum just yet. And Conquest kind of playing their own game here at this point, working their way around, but getting very aggressive here to try and look and see what they can find. They've heard all this noise coming into the inside train yard, so they've moved an additional player inside of here, but unfortunately for them, Liquid, for the most part, are going to be able to get out scot-free. Now, whether they can get the kills or not is still the question, and so far, not looking so good as it's 3-0, 4-0 now as Rix picks up another kill to take out Hiko, and it's just Fugly, although he does sneak away this plant. That's all they're going to get. No kills at all onto the Conquest players, and that'll be a very clean retake from them after Liquid just kind of funnel their way in without finding any kills themselves.
Yeah, they do get the plant, which is nice, but it's not enough for the investment they made. Everyone had armor, everyone had upgraded pistols. I mean, that's just too much money to not get any kills out of it. So that's kind of the difference in Conquest anti-eco run. They used the range of those rifles, whereas in Liquid's anti-eco, I mean, they got up close and they just got beat. So there's the difference. The plant going down isn't a huge loss whatsoever. Yeah, Liquid just looking like they're getting stuffed on these last 2 rounds.
Liquid now here too, once again, still forced back down. They have to do the double save here, not going to be able to go for the buy yet. It's still very, very early on in this game, so haven't been able to stack up enough cash, and obviously picking up the one round, then immediately losing it right after causes that full reset, and it happens right from the start, which is not what they need to have happen, but they go once again, a big solid unit of all 5 players working together. A couple may split their way off and work over towards the lower entryway into the inside train yard, but most are on their way over to upper right now, trying to find their way up onto the plat and seeing if they can find kills there, but Rick starts it off strong, popping outside connector. He's going to be able to take down Elysian. Adren here too, looking to see if there's going to be any aggression, but unfortunately leaving his teammates off to dry a little bit here. Rix will pick up a second one through the nade, and then it's just Naf and Dap so far, cleaning things up in the site itself. Hiko's the only one left alive. He did sneak around a little bit, but still the quick adjustment from Shazam there does allow him to take him out before he himself falls, and Conquest make it 2 clean rounds in a row here to put it up to 3-1.
Yeah, now no AWP is going to be able to be brought out for Team Liquid. I mean, they had the money to go glass cannon, but they're gonna decide to go all AKs. They're gonna have a lot of utility though, so that's good to see. They can pretty much do any kind of execute they want. If you look at this, they have 5 smokes, a bunch of flashbangs, even a couple Molotovs to help them out. And that's actually okay because there's no AWP on the CT side as well, so they don't have to go any long range duels. But look at this aggression down Ivy. Rush is gonna push up with Naf, and they're gonna spot absolutely nothing. Just another heavy mid play. Fugly's worked his way out into a lurk position out in the yard, so he could do some damage later on, but there's a massive flank coming in for Naf.
Nitro working his way down here too. There's Daps looking for the opening kills at first. We'll have to keep an eye on that flank for a little bit here. That Molly comes out. Eli's not going to phase him though. He's able to take down Daps as he gets a little bit too aggressive. But now we've got Naf working his way around, still being a little bit cautious in case there's any work happening here. But Nitro's falling back, so Naf is going to have to go into a duel with him. Hasn't been able to hear him just yet, and he's actually going to catch a Dren out in the open here. Now pushes through, but not looking up for Naf. They're up on top of the steps, so we will actually see, apologies, that's Nitro, apologies, that takes down Naf. That's up on top of the steps there. He'll take him down. Rush able to find another one, but Liquid Hiko cleans it up there by taking out Rush, and now they finally are able to take another round away, keeping things close for now at a 3-2 scoreline.
Yeah, some good play as well out of Liquid. I think that it looks like they want to abuse. They've gone inside very, very frequently. Daps has been playing there pretty much solo. That's kind of how they abused and won that terrorist pistol round. So if Conquest doesn't adapt to these fast plays, that could get punished throughout this half. But now we see Shazam with the AWP. He's going to bring that outside. And still, once again, one more time, Daps all alone. But Liquid isn't doing a fast strategy to take advantage of it.
And the smokes again coming out here into the outside train yard is Liquid with these guns now going to take things a little bit slower this time around, just trying to make sure that they can get the full analysis of what the round holds. But Naf is actually going to open things up here for the players on Conquest, is able to catch Fugly in his attempt to work his way into that outside train yard and at the very least pick up a kill or two there, and if not even that, at the very least try to get some info, but it's not going to pan out very well. They're going to take him down before he even gets very far at all, so already losing Fugly, not going to be too good at this point. And even the Rush here now pushing forward in a big way, able to get a lot of info himself here as to just how much Liquid is not pushed into this outside yard. They know they're fooling around in the back halls that are over by White Halls and then in back B too, so they can get themselves ready for that for the time being. Watch mainly the ladder push along with this push that's going to be happening over towards the B side, and hopefully get those players in a position. I am a little bit worried right now just because they've got Naf in a position to watch Ivy, and Rush is really deep and outside too, so when Team Liquid do go for this execution, we're going to have to see the players from Conquest on that site perform in a big way, otherwise they might be able to get on that site pretty cleanly.
Yeah, but Rix is rotating over. They have a third player now as this hit comes in. Daps is out in the open. He's got to survive, but he can't get off the train. Shazam trades it off. Elish falls down. 3-on-4 situation. And Shazam keeps chiming in from long range with that AWP. Taking a couple more out, but now that Nitro's getting aggressive, he's bought a little bit of a time to get this bomb planted.
And that's going to go down, but Shazam in the meantime is cleaning up the rest of the roster. Molly's going to come out too, and that forces the Dren outside of the hiding spot. I actually don't think that Molly... Nah, looks like it probably would have hit him there if he stayed in that, so he did kind of have to relocate himself. But regardless, he was stuck in a 1-on-3, so the odds weren't looking too good for him anyway. He's going to drop at the hands of Shazam once again, coming out big in that round with a 3K on the op, and Conquest trade that round right back at them again, picking up a 4th point for themselves, and this will put the money situation for Liquid back down into the dirt once more. There's a couple players sitting at 3.9K on a Dren, and Hiko's still at 5.6K along with Nitro at 6.1, so they could go for a force up with Tech 9s here, but we'll see actually what they choose to go for. And yep, they're going to force it here. For those that can buy AKs, they'll do that, and the others will pick up Tech 9s.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid. I mean, that's decent from Team Liquid to get that plant. Really, once that player alley fell, there's no map control anywhere else on the map, so they don't really have an opportunity to fall back and rotate away. They were forced to do that inside execute, and Shazam just wins it. Now look at how far back Daps is playing now. He has an M4, he has a smoke and a Molotov, but he knows he's been getting so much pressure put on him. He doesn't want to be inside this bomb site without support. So now that Shazam's here, just rotates in time, picks off a leash. Smoke goes down in the lower ramp. Hiko's already into the bomb site. That's a key miss from Shazam though, but he makes up for it by grabbing Nitro and a Dren. Nicely done from Shazam on this rotate, just picking people off long range.
And Hiko again now getting that plant down, relying on the support from Fugly. It's going to come in a little bit late here as he re-smokes down there, but there's Shazam once again, now up to 4 kills, an absolute monster. Looking for the 5th, now they found out where Fugly is. He tries to move further in to defend this bomb for as long as possible, but everybody on Conquest closing in should be able to take him out, and they're just going to absolutely surround him there, so Rix will finish him off without him picking up any more frags. And although Shazam will be denied the ace, he still gets a very, very nice round for himself, and Conquest got out of that one with minimal losses as well, only losing Daps along the way, so keeping their economy strong and continuing to build it up as well.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of teams on these intertakes when they get into the bomb site. They like to push people up down these train alleys. They want to take the fight closer up towards the counter terrace as they come out of the choke points behind that first train, coming out of connector, coming through CT spawn. But if you're getting picked off, if you're losing players, too many players in the take, you don't have the manpower to devote to that. You really have to secure the bomb plant instead. So that's kind of what Shazam is allowing Conquest to do, is come into these choke points on the rotation with no pressure put on him because he's getting a couple picks, 2 or 3 at long range before the bomb gets planted.
And pushing in here once again now, Liquid playing mainly into the back of this map at this point, not really looking to get themselves anywhere push forward just as of yet, and as well here, Conquest tossing in a lot of smokes initially, so they know that those are going to be a problem, so they don't decide to get in the way of that just yet. However, they line themselves up now. This is going to be finally an attempt at the outside trainer, which for the most part they have been avoiding for the most part. The problem here is going to be the fact that they don't really have any angle pushing in from from Ivy just as of yet, so it's going to be a fairly linear take here. The only thing that could surprise them would be this play outside of ladder room, but I think they can expect that pretty easily too. But here they come now, working their way out, and with only pistols as well, it's just not going to be looking so good. Everybody from Conquest knows what's happening. This is being played a little bit too slowly, in my opinion. A one-for-one trade starts us off, but Hiko finds one on top of Big Blue there, and then Rick's getting another response too. Good transfer there on the aim. He's able to take down a Liege, but nonetheless, there's a little bit of progress being made by Liquid. Shazam quick to stop it and put it back into his team's advantage. However, Hiko again damaging it back. Daps is going to drop a Dren, and now it's just Hiko in a one-on-two situation, and Rix pushes forward, finally able to take down Hiko, and that keeps it strong for Conquest now as they continue to hold this nice streak of rounds. And again, that is going to be a little bit more of a loss for them, but still no plant coming out at Liquid either, so I don't really think they can consider that a big victory for themselves.
Yeah, and Liquid had the money to buy it up and drop it over this round to a Dread if they had chosen to, but they don't go for it. So still sticking with these 5 rifle strategy. They haven't gone outside whatsoever. The one round they tried to do that, their Fugly was picked off over towards Ivy, so it kind of ended that dream without having an Ivy player. This time it looks like they're going to try and get out mid quickly, but there's a Molotov. Elige does make it out. He's got to play a little bit passive while these nades expire. And this is a great delay job by Conquest on this outer hit.
And again, they know that all this is coming for the most part, so they can rotate everybody, and they're going to keep Dap sort of in connector for now, but they've already found one kill, and they should be able to see the bomb. There they go, they've dropped it. Now everybody can come in, and Nap as well is on this big flank here right now too, so for those that are managing to push forward, like a Dren here, picking up a kill on the rush, he should be able to surprise them and take them out. Lining up the shot, takes it a Dren, now going to move in, and they didn't even get that info out either. He didn't go for Hiko at first for some reason, so Hiko is going to be able to turn around, not only saving his teammate, but picking up that kill. Thankfully though, Shazam is there with the Tech 9. He's quick to respond to that one and takes out both the remaining players from Liquid, and still keeping that defense perfect here for Conquest, not letting Liquid go anywhere in this outside or inside train yard for that matter.
Yeah, those Molotovs bought him so much time. Rush was able to get unblind, center himself behind the train, kind of find the angles he wanted to work with, and because of the Molotovs, no one from Liquid could really stream out to support each other. So that's a little unfortunate, but that's just kind of what happens on this map when the economy of the counter terrace is built up to this extent. So now Liquid's got to do some damage here. They're going to go inside one more time. They've got to get this bomb planted. And they need to start figuring out a way to find some picks or trade these kills coming out of outside, out to the outer bomb site.
And they work their way in now. Back of B, lined up for a big take from here, and of course keeping Fugly's eyes at this point on the ladder room run up, just in case somebody from Conquest tries to get aggressive now, because they've been winning quite a few rounds in a row now, so they might decide to get a little bit bold here and pick up these extra frags early, but not going to be the case. They're all sitting back. Daps is waiting over here on the approach stopper on the platform here, jumping down, and that's a nice nade. Does so much damage here too. Nitro down to 4, and that Molly, actually the nade, that second nade that comes in there from Daps is going to be the thing that finishes him off, and you've got not only Daps, but Rick just slowly pushing forward. Dren is going to try to go for this play, but that gets denied by Daps as well, and it's just a tsunami of Conquest running through here, completely obliterating any attempt from Liquid to defend their plant scenario. They can't get it off, and Conquest again pick up yet another round.
Alright, here's the op out of Adren now, so here's the response. Adren wants to see if he can take some long-range duels and win some battles. Trying to see what kind of a spawn. He has a decent spawn, but that's not going to help him beat Shazam. Shazam's going to get the angle first, so this will be a little bit... This round is going to slow down out of Team Liquid. They're going to have to allow Adren to have the time to peek around corners to see if anyone's going to give up some free kills before they do anything. And he's actually going to take it over towards Alley, where Naf is pushing up behind his own smoke. And actually, he's just going to play around the side of it. This is pretty clever, and Fugly needs to be careful not to get caught, and he spams it. He spots the feet, just blasts away, and Naf falls down for free. So there's a good pick, not from the op, but a 5-on-4 advantage for Liquid this round.
And Liquid again now finally picking up something here, able to work with that, and again, they're going to be a little bit slow with this as they try to line this up for a potential take onto that A site. Not going to work towards it just as of yet here as they bide their time a little bit. Adren looking for that op shot over there through Ivy, as we can see Shazam challenging him a little bit in that regard, but for the most part just trying to delay it in the largest way that he can. Rush finding another kill back over there, dropping the bomb too. That's going to be an inside T connector, outside T connector actually, but Adren also wins that battle versus Shazam that had been going on for some time. They get that smoke in there, and they're going to try to work their way into this site now and take control for here, but the problem is, again, that bomb still sitting on the floor right now, so they're going to have to find a way to go grab that. Hiko, thankfully, on his way back over to T-spawn, and there's not anybody from Conquest challenging that actively right now, so it should be pretty easy to pick that up, but elsewhere, again, we saw that push moving in from Ivy. Rix picking up one of the kills, takes down Fugly, and that's just another player that's been dropped, and now we've been evened out. We're back down to a 3-on-3, and there's only 30 seconds left. Liquid is also pretty shattered at this point, too. They're also pretty separate, so they're going to have trouble getting together and getting this plant. The last two are together now, moving over to the bomb trade and going to try to get this plant off with 20 seconds left on the clock. Elige picks up one there on the Rix, but take a look at Daps sneaking around. Daps doesn't even realize it's been planted here at this point. He's going to try to take one of them out, but they both escape outside. They're getting the double spray. Daps with some assistance for Elige there because of that lineup is going to be able to take down Hiko, and now Elige sitting up on top. Can Daps notice this with that spray fire? He's going to know it's coming now. now. But as we see here, Daps has to try and push for this, and nade comes out and comboing that. Elige will jump outside. He's going to be able to take down Daps, and a nice play from Liquid will net them finally another round onto the board here.
Yeah, very, very lucky to get out with that round as Liquid, as they did line up. Daps almost sprayed them both down, but really, once they killed Nitro in that T-connector with the bomb down, that's what allowed Conquest to get into that round, because that should have been a rout by Liquid, but it took them so long to clear that area, to rotate Hiko around from the White Halls, that the Conquest players were able to rotate over, able to find some kills before the bomb was even close to being planted, so much time was bought in that round, and it almost slipped out of Liquid's grasp.
So now we see, too, we'll take a look at what exactly the players here from Liquid are going to pull for. Now they've got the edge here. And as we talked about, this could be the tipping point, too. We don't see that out going back into their hands. The money situation's been brought down a little bit too low for this one, so they're going to have to try and push this one. And if not, then they just get forced right back down into an eco. And that should, for the most part, hand over, if not the next couple rounds, the rest of these rounds in the half over in the hands of Conquest. And they'll have an absolutely huge lead heading into the second half, which they can easily work with regardless of side advantages.
Very slow pace out of Liquid so far. 2 towards Ivy, 2 towards mid, and just Hika, or that's Elige, excuse me, lurking over into these box halls. So he's going to try and cause a little bit of a distraction by throwing smokes down at the lower ramp. That one kind of putters and doesn't really go anywhere, but...
And Elige again here, moving around, trying to get together with those teammates. That was a little bit of a trouble in the later round, and actually take a look at this now. Elige not able to spot Rix just yet, but he is going to catch him now as they work their way
Rix
in.
Doing?
Rix, obviously, he didn't hear it, but he should have definitely suspected something. Shazam only going to find one, though, as he takes down Nitro. Elige quick to correct that. Rush, Adren, and Hiko are going to find some kills for themselves there, too, but Rush falls in the process of that, so it gets brought down just to Daps. He's in a 1-on-3, working his way through the back halls right now, and again, very little intel at this point, and along with a limited nade stack, he's only got a molly to work with, and Adren's watching that exact position if he decides to come down through ladder room, so probably not even going to be worth it to try and go for that retake. Just save that M4, take it into the next round. They've got plenty of money, but saving this extra one couldn't hurt them at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, the majority of them have some pretty good money, but Naf is definitely going to need to drop. He only has $100 right now, so you're exactly right. Saving this gun is going to be massive for Conquest. Either way, a couple of nice rounds out of Liquid. Now they're starting to get into it. Now they're starting to punish some of the mistakes of Conquest, and all of a sudden they're going to have their 4th round. And if they win one more, they're going to break the economy of Conquest, so that's actually something that they have to be very, very careful about.
And it doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to catch on to Dap, so he will make it out of this round with that M4 in hand. And then, as we said, that's a big takeaway for them because this does enable another full buy at their hands. Daps will probably have to donate that M4 to somebody. I think it was going to be handed back over there over onto Rix, I believe, and the guns get tossed around a little bit. Only one FAMAS in the mix, though, so for the most part, they've got all the guns they need. Shazam picking up the op does delete his potentiality to go for a full nade buy out there, and as well, no head armor on him, but with full AKs on Team Liquid, that's not going to matter anyway. Everybody else pretty much has what they need, so this is still a very sufficient buy for them to work with, and shouldn't cause them any problems at all against the Conquest, or apologies, against the Liquid buy.
Daps once again playing this very, very solo. If Liquid puts a little bit more aggressive on inner, they can catch Daps off guard. I mean, he's got no one to support him whatsoever until, you know, about 20, 25, 30 seconds into the round. So there's a gap there that Liquid can start exploiting. Shazam still does have the AWP, and he's the one that's swinging between these bomb sites, but very, very slow played is this round out of Team Liquid. Once again, 2 towards Ivy, and only 1. That's the bomb as well, staying solo towards the terrorist connector on Nitro.
I'm looking out here now. Fugly's going to push up. Assistance from Rush is going to be had here as Naf will be the one to defend this, and Adren as well, just keeping his eyes out in case the CTs get aggressive. That flash comes in completely blinding Fugly, and Rush is not peeked up for this, but nobody finds a kill on anybody. Now Naf's going to come in, and the op shot from Adren doesn't even take place as he was caught with a nade in hand, so that's a free kill for Conquest now, and Adren, unfortunately, has no way to push himself through Ivy at this point, killing the plans a little bit, but the rest of Take is going to start now for Liquid as they work their way inside. Rush trapped in that molly, nowhere to run for him, so Hiko, he's going to be able to take him out with a free kill coming up on that one. The rest of Conquest slowly rotating in, but they're still holding strong on this site. There's been no plan as of it, as the hold's still been very good for these players playing over here towards the train alleys in the back of the outside site. So they're going to take out another one. It's still in a 4-on-3 situation, and Conquest still passively holding this, and Liquid unfortunately can't seem to find out these final players. Rick's taking out another one, and Hiko leaves it with only Adren and Nitro left alive.
Yeah, this is the issue. Adren's op hasn't had any chance to be effective. There's Nitro with 1. Now it's all on Adren, but he's not able to find the angles to really protect his teammates from this far away. Now with the bomb planted, he's got to hope someone swings and peeks on him, but he misses that shot. That's the one he needed to turn this into a winnable situation, and now, unfortunately, all he can really do is get that last pick and just save his gun because he's not going to win it. He gets fully blind. He's actually in the wide open if they were able to peek that, but It's actually really unfortunate that he didn't get that pick. Him and Fugly had the right idea. I believe that was Fugly over towards Ivy, where Dren was watching his left as Fugly looked right. But as soon as he pulls a nade out, there's a peek. So that's a little bit unfortunate on that timing. Either way, Conquest stabilizes. They end the streak of 2. But it is another buy for Liquid behind that plant.
Liquid taking a little bit of time here to toss their guns around, so they've been playing this pretty slowly anyway, so not really going to impact them. It only hurt them if we see aggressive play coming out, which to some degree we do hear from Conquest. They're going to get this boost over here from NAF to put him on top of, I don't know what to call this, I guess server this would be over in Ivy, just a little box in Ivy there, so that's going to put him on top of that. If Fugly continues to push down that alleyway there, he's going to be able to catch him, and that'll be exactly what happens. He gets hit with a heavy amount of damage in the process, but that's still a free kill going the way of Conquest. That's not going to get traded out anywhere else on the map for the time being. Look, they're shifting themselves over a little bit because of this. Looks like they're still going to decide to push this inside of A, but with the Ivy push filling, they have to change some aspects of this up here a little bit. The bomb carrier is still working his way in through T-Con, but the rest look like they are going to try to rush their way out here through ladder room and try to work a take from there. With Hiko, I think, is going to make a little bit of noise here in back B as well. That or could be just watching the flank for when they actually get themselves in. He'll join them at a later point.
Looks like they almost want to get a pick out of this ladder room and then be able to fall back towards inner bomb site, but Naf's going to shut that down. There goes the up on a Dren. He just gets clotheslined, so Naf with 2 kills has done a very, very good job this round, having a huge impact. Elish is going to have to try and sneak out. He spots Rush far away, can't land the kill though. So in a 3-on-5, there's really only one thing left to do, and that's to get towards the center bomb site very, very quickly, but they can't beat the rotation out of Shazam. He doesn't have an op, so they do have an opening, and Daps is playing inside the bomb site, but this has got to be very successful. But there's the spray through the smoke. Shazam gets the first one. That's Nitro down. No entries so far for Liquid, and they're just getting mopped up. Daps with the final 2 kills. Great defense from Conquest.
And we talked about the stabilization that came into play because Conquest picked up that last round, but now it's been put into a good spot. It's not technically going to matter now that we're at the 15th round, but they've been placed into an excess buy now anyway, so they would have been able to make it out. Still a little bit late, of course, but they should have been able to make it through at the very least with a slightly forced buy of the next one if they drop this one. But as we said, 15th round here, they've made it through. They've got the full buy, and as for Liquid, they've been broken once more, and they're just going to force up anything they can here for the final 15th round. It's not going to be much. A Deagle on Elish and Tech 9s for everybody else. They've got a nice amount of utility, but still have to rely on that pistol aim in order to make anything happen, and I think Conquest may know this, so Daps gets a little aggressive, tossing that nade up, not going to pursue it any further than that though, and beyond this, Liquid is trying to look up a default A take now, and probably going to try to set it up a lot quicker here too, as you can see by the 3 players moving over towards Ivy right now.
Yeah, this should be a situation where Fugly's going to throw some nades and Molotovs to help these 3 players in Ivy get out towards what used to be old hell, with Elish just coming out, taking some shots long range of that Deagle towards the bomb site, but pretty solid defense. Shazam once again on a very, very quick rotate, doesn't have the AWP. But Conquest looking like they're in a good position to stop this.
Liquid again just trying to find any additional aggression that they can possibly find here, but not looking so good so far at this point, as again, Conquest just sit back, bide their time, and even with that smoke coming up further down Ivy, they're actually going to use this to throw a molly there now, so Nitro might be forced to use one of his smokes, and keep in mind, they're still going to need these here too to try and make this take work happen, but they actually don't use it just yet. Dren's going to be able to peek out here, comes into a little bit of a battle with Naf, but can't get any damage on him, so that flash was out, completely blinds Naf. He's going to fall back. They'll get control of Ivy, at least for the time being now, but, well, looks like we might have a DC on
Elish.
Nitro there, or, okay.
Doesn't even matter. Elish doing work with that Deagle. He's provided an opportunity for Fugly to get one more kill, coming up the ladder just to scope out above the smoke. Finds the kill, and now it's just Daps so quickly. No one even lost from Team Liquid, so this is going to be their 5th round, and that's a crucial round to win. It gives himself a little bit more time going into the second half, a little bit of an opportunity to make some mistake, but Elish just executing kids coming out that ladder room.
With a big play like that, Daps is going to be left alone. He'll obviously try to go for this, but there's nowhere to run at this point. As you said, the 5th point from Liquid going to get picked up here. Daps is going to make an attempt, but doesn't really go too far there. And that'll end the half. 10-5 in the favor of Conquest, and a very big take there on the CT side. Somewhat of what we would expect, at least for a North American train match, but very dominant in their favor nonetheless. So now we got to see what happens when we switch sides here and how favorable these teams are. I think overall we'll see a stronger performance from Liquid just on this side, considering the fact that historically speaking, and it might be a little different now with this newer roster, but historically speaking, Dren has always had a little bit more trouble with using his op on the T side, and we saw the problems with that when he actually could get it into his hands. He had a lot of trouble finding a good position for himself to use it, but here on the CT side, he has not only a lot more confidence with it, but overall an easier job as the opper on the CT side, so that alone should add quite a bit of strength to the Team Liquid roster now on this side.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the big thing is going to be Liquid. If they win pistol, they can't lose that second round again. Especially on the CT side of Train, you have to get that economy rolling. If you can get those Molotovs, those smokes, those nades for these choke points, if you can tone down the early aggression out of terrorist teams, you have a lot of options available with how you want to play mid-round defense during a slow-paced round. So that's going to be the big thing. That's going to be the first priority for Liquid.
So here we go once again, guys. The first pistol, apologies, our second pistol round of our second half here, getting started now. And we'll see if Conquest can keep their streak going on the T side, or if Team Liquid are finally going to be able to get a response going here and be able to swing things back, keep this map close tonight, and maybe bring things back into their favor. But we'll start things off for Conquest. We'll see exactly where they take it, and it's going to be most players working through light halls right now. Over into back B, they slow it down a little bit in case there's blind aggression at the hands of Team Liquid, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And overall, they go for kind of the same strategy we saw here at the hands of Conquest on their own CT side. There's a little bit more aggression from Nitro, though, as he actually peeks all the way up through Ivy to see if there'll be a push there. It won't happen, so they can probably get this intel that, yeah, it's more than likely going to be working its way either outside ladder room or inside of the inside train yard now. So they catch this, and they've already got 3 players in sight, too, so they could potentially hold this very strongly if they're able to catch these guys up before that plan happens. But actually, he's going to find the opener. Rick's picking up a second here, too, and there's that push that you were talking about earlier. They're trying to move forward, but Elige shutting them down, finding 2 there. Nap and Rick's both going down at the hands of Elige, but Shazam was able to take down Nitro now. This leaves Hiko and Elige alive. Elige finally falling there, too, after picking up those 2 kills, and it's Hiko left as the last one standing, but he completely flanks them here, but Shazam, it doesn't even matter for him, swings over, finds the shot on Hiko to take him down, and Conquest, they're going to pick up the pistol here in our second half.
Yeah, that's brutal for Team Liquid. Just an inner rush, and they can't get any of the early kills to go their way, so the bomb gets planted in a 5-on-3, and that's just so hard to retake that inner bomb site, especially when you saw. I mean, that's what happens. I talked about this in the first half. When you have so many players on the T side and you take that inner site, once you start getting aggressive down these lanes, it becomes so difficult for counter-terrorists to retake. There's so many angles to check, so much time they have to spend, but either way, not giving it up quite yet. Liquid's going to buy up. 3 players with upgraded pistols and armor, Leash with the scout, a Dren. He picks up a couple nades and a P250.
A very limited buy coming up at the hands of Team Liquid here. They go for basically the gamble play, but it's not going to pay off at all here. Dren's going to meet them. He actually spots them before the push, so we can get this call early, but no, there's way too late of a reaction on this one. They're going to rotate in, but I thought Adren would have seen that there on his initial peek, but it doesn't appear he got as big of a look as I would have thought they would. So they're moving in now, but they've already got themselves onto this site. Dapticity doesn't go for the plan in his initial spot, but again, they've already been denied access on their re-entry for this site. Nitro's gone for a complete flank through the White Hall and is working his way inside of ladder room, but this too is smoked out, so it's going to be a blind push. And Rush here, along with the other teammates, just holding things off. Elige is going to get one there with a little bit of jump scouting work, but Rush quickly puts a stop to that one. And now it's just Nitro left alive, who was the player inside of ladder room that we talked about before. But he's working a 1-on-4, and they should have pretty good eyes on that angle. And even so, he's probably not even going to go too aggressively on this. Maybe just looking for players that will be exiting through ladder room at this point.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Liquid actually when Adren went down. That in my opinion, that should have been an immediate save call. You know, use that arsenal you have for the next round. Just keep the armor, keep the pistols, go for something different. Try and change things up. You had everything you needed for the next round to pull out something magical, but you weren't going to get much done trying to retake that outer bomb site. And they just get slaughtered trying to come up the stairs from CT spawn. So now it's going to be a very weak buy. No armor, some upgraded pistols. And Nitro actually invests in some armor and a CZ. So actually, I believe he was the one who did save. But yeah. I mean, really, there's not much they can hope to do in this round. A lot of utility, a lot of SMGs on the side of Conquest, so they can clean things up, and they're just going to come outside very, very quickly.
Yeah, mainly Shazam here, looking to get that money early on so we can go for that out buy here, but they work their way in. Elige finds the opener, a quick trade from Naf, though, to shut things down, and Rush picking up one here as well, even catching Nitro, who's inside of that smoke garble over there near the bomb train, and with that happening here, it doesn't really leave a whole lot left here for Liquid. As you said, not really too much to expect out of this round with no utility and minimal gun investments, to say the least here. Rick's moving forward, cleans up the final 2 with the P90, and there is going to be the 13th point onto the board now for Conquest.
Yeah, now here's the real issue is that, you know, I mentioned that Liquid, their first priority needs to be stabilizing economy early on. They need to have nades, they need to have an op, Molotovs. They don't have the money for that. With that second round investment that did no damage whatsoever, you can already see, like, Rush has 6,600 built up. Naf can buy again, he's got 3,700. Shazam with 2K and an AWP with a full kit. I mean, there's a lot of bank built up behind Conquest, and there's nothing to really slow them down early on in these rounds.
And here they go now with the guns in hands. We'll see what Liquid can do and try to hold off this defense. But Conquest kicking into high gear now. Molly coming off towards the bomb train too. He's going to force a reposition at the hands of Nitro as he moves up inside of the heaven area here now on the site. But Fugly and Adren having no trouble holding things on their own. Finally, Rush picking up something here for the Conquest roster. But Fugly and Adren right after that picking up the final 2 that are needed. And Liquid with a great hold on that outside site.
Yeah, they got some long range kills that were very crucial. Fugly shooting through a smoke gets one, finds they find some cracks in these smokes in between the trains and grab another free kill. So I mean they shut that down, that early aggression, very even without the nades that they needed. So now Adren's got to free up. Now they have 4 Molotovs in their kit. This is looking good for Team Liquid. All of a sudden, if they can win this round, they're going to start closing this gap very, very quickly.
And we'll see just if that happens here now as Conquest. They go right up for another buy this time. It'll be a little bit more limited than previously saw as Shazam isn't going to be able to go for the nades that he wants. Most other players are, but Daps did have to sacrifice going down to a Tech 9 in order to pick those up, which again, the Tech 9, the mobile rifle, shouldn't really have any problems with that because that can still do quite a bit of damage. But for the time being here, it's going to limit them to some degree. Still, though, with 4 AKs in the mix, can still potentially do a lot of work. Elise, though, starting it off for Liquid, is going to be able to take down Shazam and already knock out one of these players. Good.
That's a ballsy solo push, not even a pop flash from his teammate. He just walks in and sees what he can find, and actually there's the rebuttal. Naf takes out Fugly over towards Ivy, so Alicia's got to go cover that. He's at about half health, but no aggression off that kill from Conquest. Still 3 members at Ivy, and just 1 member, that's Daps, down ladder room hiding behind a smoke.
They're taking their time here on Conquest, just going to take as much time as possible so they can try to see if they can get any early aggression from the Liquid side, but not going to be happening. Daps as well, now that this smoke is faded over here by ladder room, he's going to start to investigate the outside site as well, and now we see that push coming in. They get a nice pop flash that goes over onto Elige. Isn't completely blinded, but it gives Naf enough field in order to pick up the kill onto Elige. They push out over here, working their way out through the mid tunnel now, and they're going to be able to find one. They should know the location of Adren here too, so that nade gets bounced in. Should do a nice chunk of damage, but actually doesn't really end up doing all that much, unfortunately, as the bounce was a little off angle. So, unfortunately for Adren, though, he still gets pushed back at 16 HP, and this gives Conquest full control of the site. Liquid Hiko, along with Adren, both of them have pushed completely out, and they have to try to go for a rat push to retake it at this point. They're moving in, though, and I don't exactly think they spot him. Rix is going to have to be the one to catch this. However, Hiko has second thoughts of moving in through that mid-train yard and moves over here towards the Ivy tunnel instead to try and take out one. He sees one in the corner there, finally going to be able to catch Naf in the open, but now they've got to find Rix and Rush, and Rix still kind of an illusion as he sits up here, and nobody has been able to spot him inside of Heaven just yet. Now he's going to reveal himself, though, and that makes him out in the open, but Rush picking up one, and Rix finding the second. And Conquest do end up closing it out there. A great crossfire angle, and unfortunately Liquid not really able to find those players quickly enough. Hands over the round once again to Conquest. A little bit of a bump there to give Team Liquid their 6 point, but at the end of things doesn't even matter as they hold such a strong lead here. They're going to solidify their own economy, and as for Liquid, they're not going to have anything to work with here, really. It would be a hugely forced round if they did decide to go for it, and it's not even really going to be worth it if that was the case. So they just go for a couple upgraded pistols here and there, and they're going to have to save and try to play for tie point.
Yeah, getting their economy reset here pretty much dispels the match. Conquest is going to get up towards 15 rounds unless something crazy happens to this. But, I mean, that round, once the defense at Ivy, once that one player gets dropped, they don't have a defense there. They played it more passively. They let Conquest get out of the choke points for free into that outer train yard. And there's just too many avenues of attack, too many avenues of aggression for Conquest while there's no pressure being put on by the defense. So, pretty much, I mean, they were able to wrap around towards CT spawn, wrap into the bomb site. Really not much that Liquid could do once they decided to play that passively.
And Liquid, again, just exercising their options here. They go for the gamble, and the push coming in from B is, for the most part, it's been Conquest pushing into the A site here, but not really going to pay off here. And the only player in the A site to watch things is going to be Elige. He can't see anything from his current angle. The only thing he could catch would be Daps if he runs up this ladder here, and so quiet about it. He is going to be able to get an angle advantage if he pushes, but no, Daps goes back to check. It is going to be able to take down Elige. Now they should know, though, that again, with the limited players they found in that area, and they're actually going to get some good intuition going here, that it will be pushed into the A site, but still nothing to stand in their way at this point. Fugly, Hiko, and Nitro, the last ones left alive. Rix and Rush is melting through them. Nitro's going to find one, but with the 2 Ls traded out, Rix will pick up that final kill, and again, it's a clean one from Conquest. Nothing Liquid really could have done about it with the guns they had, but still, that's that 15 point we were looking to see, and now Liquid, we have to see what exactly they can buy up here, and what is potentially going to be the final round this matchup. For Hiko, at least, along with Elige, it is going to be somewhat limited.
Yeah, and really, there's not much that they can do. They have to buy up these rifles. They cannot afford to let a plant. On this map, where it takes so long to clear out positions, if a bomb gets planted by Conquest, that's almost the match. 3 smokes to use as well. They have very light utility. They're going to have to rely on their individual skill this round and win some duels early on, give themselves some kind of a player advantage during a take. And Conquest playing it very, very slowly. Once again, sending 3 players over towards Ivy. Shazam's going to lead the way with his AWP, and they cannot give up a pick. They just used a smoke here on Ivy. That's going to extinguish at about, 110. I mean, there's not a lot of time that they can run down off the clock.
So here we go from Liquid once again, taking it oh so slowly to see if they could find anything earlier after that flash comes in. It's going to be used to see if Elise can get himself into T-Con. No resistance there from Conquest, as again, they've been playing it very, very far back so far. Daps in the same position he played from the previous round, sitting over here on top of Ladder Room, and the rest of Conquest taking it very, very slowly, sitting outside of Ivy Tunnel here too. The only one that's exposed would be Shazam with the op playing on top of Dumpster, and nobody from Liquid is going to take the chance on face checking that. So here comes Conquest. No initial nades to work their way in. Fugly, if they don't use a flash to get their way in here, could do some nice work. Nitro as well is pretty close back over on the green drain, so they could shut down this offensive here, but very good play there from Conquest to Shazam. He's going to be able to find another one there, takes down Fugly, and they move it in. The smoke comes out to prevent any rotation from CT spawn, as they're just going to go directly for the outside site. Rix and Rush finding two more there to shut things down once more, and then we've got Hiko and Adren, and they have to try and save this in a 2-on-5, but there's just not enough fuel left in the tank here. As we can see, Hiko, there's a molly on the floor in connector. He can't even get through there. A nade to the face brings him down to 60 HP. In the meantime, Adren is going to try to work his way back over, but the molly's going to end up finishing off Hiko there. Naf claims the kill, but some assistance coming in on the spray. Adren finds two, though, as he takes down Rix and Naf, clearing things out a little bit, but still in a 1-on-3. No nades left here. He's just going to try to go blindly out onto the site here, but now he's in between a rock and a hard place now. He moves his way out, and Rush shuts it down. So Conquest, with a huge upset against Team Liquid, are going to steal away this match and come out on top for today's game. That was a really bad way to end that sentence. I lost all the hype there as I was like, how do I end this sentence? Game. There we go.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know if I'd call that really necessarily an upset. Liquid's been playing really, really well for being so early of a team, but I think Train is a map.
Overall, I would say basically, reputationally, it would be an upset with all the hype that Liquid has had behind them, but considering it's Train, of course, it's not super surprising.
Well, not just that. I mean, you look at the talent that this Conquest team has on it. You look at the performance that they've had individually at some tournaments and some improvements they've made. I mean, this is a team that took Navi pretty close at the MLG SIVO LAN. I think they even took a map off of them, but they played them pretty close. So this is a team that's no slouch. But yeah, I think just that team Liquid, we've seen them look better for sure. I think they just need a little bit more time, but I think more surprising than anything is just the beatdown that was, and it just kind of comes from the fact that they lost the second round on T side. That's brutal for a map that's so CT sided. To get those 3 rounds early on, that's huge for Terrace teams on Train, but also just never able to stabilize that economy. They only really had one mistake to give up that early in the match, and unfortunately they gave it up, and all of a sudden Conquest is there, at 15 so incredibly quickly. So we'll see improvement out of Liquid as things go on, and right now I think they've been improving at a good rate, but a nice match out of Conquest for sure. Great. Shazam looked really good with the op on that defensive side, rotating to the inner bomb site, doing a lot of damage.
And that, guys, is going to close out our matches for this evening. Unfortunately, we won't be showing the other match. I actually don't know the way we did it. I was told we were trying to get a second stream up, but I don't actually know if that ended up happening or not. So if the match is still on, it's going to be over at twitch.tv/ESEA2. Producer just told me we do have a second stream going for that one. It's 5-14 at the moment with CLG winning, so if you do want to watch the end of that match, go head over to that other channel right now. But that concludes the stream here on the main ESEA stream. Be sure to join both Mega Man as well as Moses tomorrow as he bring you the second day of play here, featuring Team Liquid versus Philo Esports, Complexity versus Method, Lunatic versus Conquest, and Lunatic versus Complexity as well. That all starts at the same time it did today at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on twitch.tv/ESEA. I'll be back on Thursday. But once again, folks, from all of us here at ESEA, we hope you've enjoyed the stream today, and we'll see you next time for more ESL ESEA Pro League.